While China builds ghost cities and Japan battles a demographic collapse, one Southeast Asian nation just unlocked an economic weapon that's impossible to replicate, and it's happening so fast, global economists are scrambling to understand it. The Philippines isn't just surviving. It's positioning itself as the silent giant of Asia, and here's the secret advantage no one saw coming. Right now, at this very second, there are 10 million Filipinos working in 200 countries. Doctors in Germany, nurses in Canada, engineers in Dubai, domestic workers in Hong Kong. Meet Elena. She's 34, a pediatric nurse from Cebu who made an impossible choice in 2019. She kissed her 2-year-old daughter goodbye, left her with her mother, and flew to London with $200 in her pocket and a dream that felt more like desperation. Within 18 months, Elena sent home $42,000. Read that again. $42,000. That's more than her entire extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, earned combined in 3 years back in Cebu. Now multiply Elena by 10 million. In 2024, Filipinos abroad sent home $37.2 billion. That's not a typo. That's more than the entire GDP of 82 countries. More than Iceland, Jamaica, and Nepal combined. But here's where it gets insane. This isn't just about money. When COVID-19 hit in March 2020, experts predicted the Philippines would collapse. Tourism? Call centers? Shutting down. Millions jobless. The IMF projected a catastrophic recession. Instead, remittances increased by 5.1% in 2020. While Italy, Spain, and the United States crashed into recession, Filipino families kept spending. They bought food, paid rent, sent kids to school, started small businesses. The economy didn't just survive, it stabilized. According to the World Bank's 2023 Migration and Development Report, remittances to the Philippines are the most stable capital flow in Southeast Asia. More reliable than foreign investment. More consistent than exports. More predictable than tourism. Let me introduce you to Ramon. He's 41, a construction worker in Saudi Arabia who lives in a cramped dormitory with 11 other men. His bed is a thin mattress on a metal frame. The air conditioning breaks down every summer. He shares one bathroom with 23 people. But every month, without fail, Ramon sends home $800. That $800 supports 12 family members. It paid for his niece's medical school tuition. She's now a doctor. It funded 2 small businesses, his wife's Sari convenience store and his brother's motorcycle taxi service. Ramon hasn't seen his kids in 4 years. His oldest daughter was 7 when he left. She's 11 now, and he's missed every birthday, every school play, every achievement. But his sacrifice powered an entire microeconomy in his village. 5 families depend directly on the money he sends. 13 more benefit indirectly from the businesses his remittances created. Here's what shocks economists. This isn't bleeding the country dry, it's building it up. Every dollar Ramon sends creates $1.80 in local economic activity through the multiplier effect. But there's something even more powerful happening. And it's creating a competitive advantage that China, with all its factories and infrastructure, can never copy. The Philippines is the only country in Asia where 93% of the population speaks conversational English. Not India. Not Singapore. Not Hong Kong. The Philippines. And it's turning into a $1 trillion weapon. Meet Maria. She's 28, from Manila, and she started as a call center agent in 2016 earning $400 a month answering customer service complaints for a US telecom company. She worked night shifts, drank instant coffee to stay awake, dealt with angry customers screaming at her about their internet connection. By 2018, she was managing a small team. By 2020, everything changed. When the pandemic forced the world remote, Maria's skills became more valuable, not less. US and UK companies suddenly realized they could hire Filipino talent at 30% of American costs with zero language barrier. No accent difficulties. No cultural misunderstandings. Same time zone flexibility. Better work ethic. Today, Maria manages a team of 50 remote workers serving clients in 7 countries. She earns $2,400 a month, 6 times her starting salary, and she does it from her apartment in Quezon City. Business process outsourcing in the Philippines generated $29.5 billion in 2023. That's a 112% increase since 2015, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. But here's the crazy part. Unlike India's call centers, which now face rising wages and competition from AI, Filipino BPO workers prefer remote work. It means lower overhead costs, no expensive office spaces, no traffic commutes, lower environmental impact, and costs stay stable. While China and the US battle over semiconductors and AI chips and rare earth minerals, the Philippines quietly dominates the human capital market. They're winning a war nobody realized was being fought. And the next advantage? It's demographic. What the Philippines has, aging superpowers are desperately trying to buy, but money can't solve this problem. Japan's median age, 49 years old. Italy, 48. Germany, 46. South Korea, 45. These aren't just numbers. They're economic death sentences. These countries are aging out of competitiveness. More retirees than workers. Shrinking tax bases. Exploding healthcare costs. Collapsing pension systems. Philippines' median age? 25.7 years old. 52% of the population is under 30. A 2024 Asian Development Bank study analyzed 47 countries over 30 years and found that nations with median ages under 30 grow GDP 2.3 times faster than aging economies over 20-year periods. Young populations innovate. They take risks. They build businesses. They adapt to technology faster. They work longer hours. They demand less from pension systems. Josh. He's 23 years old, a tech startup founder from Davao City. He didn't go to an expensive university. He didn't get venture capital funding from Silicon Valley. He didn't have family connections. Josh built a fintech app with 200,000 users using only his smartphone and free Wi-Fi at shopping malls. His app helps Filipino workers send remittances home with 70% lower fees than traditional services. He taught himself to code using free YouTube tutorials. He designed his user interface using free Canva templates. He tested his product with his friends and family. Last month, he closed an $800,000 seed funding round from a Singaporean investor. Josh represents something unstoppable. 12 million Filipino Gen Zers are entering the workforce over the next 5 years. They're ambitious, tech-savvy, globally connected from birth. They grew up on YouTube, learned English from Netflix, and built businesses on Instagram. But here's the danger no one's talking about. This advantage could collapse in 15 years if the Philippines makes one critical mistake. Here's the brutal truth. The Philippines' secret weapon only works if the country can support its people. In 2024, Manila has the worst traffic congestion in Southeast Asia. The average commute is 73 minutes each way. Power outages still plague rural provinces. 14 hours without electricity isn't uncommon in Mindanao. Internet speeds lag behind Vietnam and Thailand, making remote work frustratingly inconsistent. Meet Carlos. He's 45, a factory owner in Laguna who manufactures electrical components for export. In 2022, he almost moved his entire operation to Vietnam. The reason? Unreliable electricity. He lost $300,000 in 1 year because of power disruptions. Machines stopped mid-production. Orders missed deadlines. Clients canceled contracts. His reputation suffered. Carlos was done. He started looking at industrial parks in Ho Chi Minh City. Then the government launched the Build program, $180 billion in infrastructure investment. 8,000 kilometers of new roads. 32 airport upgrades and constructions. High-speed rail connecting Manila to major cities. New power plants. Expanded ports. According to the Japan International Cooperation Agency's 2023 assessment, if these projects are completed on schedule, they could boost Philippine GDP by 3.2% annually through 2030. Carlos decided to stay. He upgraded his factory with the expectation that infrastructure would improve. Today, his factory employs 200 people. Power reliability has increased 40% since 2022 in his region. His export orders are growing. But here's the thing, Vietnam is building faster. Indonesia is attracting more foreign direct investment. Thailand has better infrastructure today. The Philippines is in a race against time and against its neighbors. Every year of delay costs competitiveness. Every delayed project sends investors elsewhere. Every power outage makes Vietnam more attractive. So what makes the difference? What's the variable that could tip everything? There's one advantage so deeply embedded in Filipino culture that it can't be taught, manufactured, or copied, and it's changing everything. It's called Bayanihan, the spirit of communal unity and cooperation. It's the Filipino tradition of neighbors literally carrying someone's entire house to a new location, everyone lifting together. It's helping without expecting reward. It's collective resilience. And it's the Philippines' secret economic multiplier. In December 2021, Typhoon Odette, known internationally as Rai, devastated Cebu. It was the strongest typhoon to hit the Philippines that year. Wind speeds reached 260 kilometers per hour. It destroyed 1.9 million homes, cut power to 7 million people, caused $1.2 billion in damage. Remember Maria, the BPO manager we met earlier? Typhoon Odette destroyed her entire office building. Roof gone. Computers flooded. Servers destroyed. Communication systems down. 3 days later, her team was back online, working from homes with partial roofs, from cafes with generators, from relatives' houses 3 cities away, using personal laptops, sharing mobile hotspots, coordinating through WhatsApp because the company systems were down. Her UK clients never missed a single call. Zero downtime. They didn't even know a catastrophic typhoon had hit until Maria told them 2 weeks later. That's when her clients tripled her contract. Not because of sympathy, because of reliability under impossible conditions. Dr. Richard Haydarian, a Manila-based geopolitical analyst, wrote in his 2023 book The Rise of the Phoenix Economy, Filipino resilience isn't just cultural, it's competitive advantage in an increasingly unstable world. Filipino workers have a 94% retention rate in overseas jobs, the highest in the world, according to 2024 IMF global migration data. But strong family obligations, cultural loyalty, the knowledge that their sacrifice supports entire communities back home. Employers in 47 countries rank Filipino workers as the most reliable, most adaptable, and most loyal employees across healthcare, construction, maritime, domestic work, and business services sectors. But there's a darker side to this advantage. And if the Philippines doesn't address it soon, the entire system could crumble. Here's the crisis. The Philippines is educating world-class doctors, nurses, and engineers, and then watching them leave. In 2023, the Philippines produced 28,000 newly licensed nurses. Within 18 months, 19,600 of them left the country, according to Philippine Nurses Association data. That's 70% of the graduating class. Gone. Meet Dr. Michael Santos. He's 32, a surgeon from Iloilo who spent 11 years training. 4 years pre-med. 4 years medical school. 3 years residency. He earns $12,000 per year working 80-hour weeks at a public hospital in Manila. Germany offered him $98,000 to start. Immediately. Plus housing assistance. Plus additional benefits. Plus a 40-hour work week. He stayed in the Philippines for 2 years out of guilt. Out of obligation. Out of the belief that his country needed him more than he needed money. Then his 8-year-old daughter needed emergency surgery for a congenital heart defect. The cost, $24,000. 2 years of his salary. Money he didn't have. He left for Germany in 2023. World Bank economist Martin Rama warned in a 2024 policy paper, if the Philippines doesn't increase domestic wages by 40% over the next decade, it will lose its most valuable resource, its own human capital. The math is devastating. The Philippines spends approximately $8,000 per student to educate a nurse to international standards. Then that nurse immediately leaves and generates economic value for Canada, the UK, or Saudi Arabia. The Philippines gets nothing except future remittances, money that helps families but doesn't build institutions. But some economists argue this is exactly the strategy. What if the brain drain is actually the Philippines' master plan? Here's the contrarian take that's gaining traction. The Philippines isn't losing talent, it's globalizing it. Meet Angela. She's 38, a software engineer who worked at Google Singapore for 8 years. She earned $180,000 annually, saved aggressively, lived in a small apartment, sent money home, built her savings to $400,000. In 2022, she returned to Baguio, a mountain city in northern Philippines known for cool weather and growing tech scene. She didn't return to retire. She returned to build. Angela started a tech company focused on AI-powered educational tools for Southeast Asian students. She brought Silicon Valley systems, agile development, equity compensation, flat hierarchies, to the Philippines. She hired 35 people. Average age, 26. Average salary, $1,200 per month, triple the local average, but still 80% cheaper than hiring in Singapore. Last month, her startup raised $2.3 million from international investors, including one of her former Google colleagues who saw the opportunity. According to a 2024 study by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies, 34% of overseas Filipino workers return home within 15 years. And when they return, they don't just retire, they start businesses. On average, each returning OFW creates 4.2 jobs. University of the Philippines economics professor Emmanuel de Dios argues, the Filipino diaspora is the world's most successful distributed economic development program. The data backs this up. Filipino Americans are now the fastest-growing Asian entrepreneur group in the United States, with business creation rates 47% higher than the Asian American average. Filipino Canadians have the second highest median household income of any immigrant group at 84,000 Canadian dollars. Filipino Australians dominate healthcare leadership positions, 22% of senior nurse manager positions despite being only 3% of the population. The Philippines isn't exporting workers, it's building a global empire of influence. A distributed network of skilled professionals who send money home, who maintain cultural connections, who facilitate trade, who open doors for the next generation. But there's one final advantage that ties this all together. And it might be the most important one of all. Look at a map. Really look. The Philippines sits at the crossroads of the world's most important trade routes. $5.3 trillion in goods pass through the South China Sea every year. 1/3 of global maritime trade flows past Philippine waters. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies 2024 Indo-Pacific Security Report, the Philippines is becoming the critical swing state in the US-China competition. Meet Commander Jose Reyes, Philippine Navy, stationed at the Basa Air Base in Pampanga. In 2023, he watched as the U.S. reopened access to 5 military bases in the Philippines under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. These aren't just military bases. They come with ports, airports, roads, telecommunications infrastructure, power grids, the kind of infrastructure the Philippines desperately needs. U.S. investment in Philippine infrastructure increased 340% from 2022 to 2024, according to U.S. Indo-Pacific Command data. That's $4.7 billion in construction, much of which serves dual civilian-military purposes. But here's where it gets dangerous. China is the Philippines' largest trading partner. 31% of Philippine exports go to China. The U.S. is its largest security partner and treaty ally since 1951. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is walking a tightrope between two superpowers. Too close to the U.S., and China could cut trade, devastating the Philippine economy. Too close to China, and the U.S. could reduce security cooperation, leaving the Philippines vulnerable to territorial disputes in the West Philippine Sea. One wrong step could destroy everything. But if navigated correctly, the Philippines could extract maximum benefits from both superpowers while maintaining strategic autonomy. So after everything we've uncovered, here's the synthesis. The Philippines' secret advantage isn't just one thing. It's a perfect storm. 10 million global workers sending home $37 billion annually in the most stable capital flow in Asia. 93% English proficiency capturing the $29.5 billion BPO market while India faces rising costs and AI competition. 52% of the population under 30, 12 million Gen Z workers entering the economy with global skills and digital fluency. Cultural resilience encoded in Bayanihan that allows Filipino workers to maintain 94% retention rates and adapt to any crisis. A returning diaspora bringing $400,000 in average savings, Silicon Valley systems, and international networks to create 4.2 jobs per returnee. Geographic positioning at the center of the US-China competition, extracting $4.7 billion in infrastructure investment just by existing in the right place. But advantages fade. Vietnam was supposed to be the next China, where is it now? India was the unstoppable giant, why is growth slowing? Indonesia was Southeast Asia's leader, why is it struggling? The Philippines has maybe 10 to 15 years to convert these advantages into permanent structures, education, infrastructure, institutions that outlast demographic luck. Think about Elena, Ramon, Maria, Josh, Carlos, Angela, Dr. Santos. They're not waiting for permission. They're building the future right now. So here's my question for you. If you were a 25-year-old Filipino today, would you stay and build the future, or leave and send money home? There's no wrong answer, but your choice determines whether this secret advantage becomes a golden age or a missed opportunity. Drop your answer in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if you think this analysis missed something crucial about the Philippines, challenge me. Let's figure this out together.